We've received quite a bit of interest in my Free to Be workshop, so to that effect, beneath this video is a link that will give you a description for the workshop, and we've also included a special discount. So if that's something you would be interested in, I would invite you to click that link, and I hope that you would find the course to be quite beneficial. I want us to look today at a very common frustration that people have after they've spent a pretty good bit of time with a strongly narcissistic person. And plain and simple, they can have a sense of emptiness or agitation or exasperation or futility regarding the way that the relationship is unfolded with that narcissistic person. Now, the narcissist can be very highly self-impressed, and they can think, well, I bring a lot of good things to the equation, so they want to gaslight you and make sure that you believe that you're the one who's got the problem. But in fact, they bring a tremendous sense of stunted growth, if you will, to the equation. They're underdeveloped in their own relationship skills. Now, I want you to just think about certain kind of things that you've surely thought or felt as you've been engaging with this person. For example, you may say, well, I just wish that I could feel understood, but that person just doesn't make the effort to know me and understand me very well. Or I'd like to have a higher level of cooperation. We don't have that very well either. There's not a good sense of coordination. It's not a two-way street. Or perhaps we could find a better middle ground when we are working on projects or discussing beliefs or ideas or preferences. There's no middle ground with this person. Or I wish that I could know that that individual would have my back, that I could count on them. I think they'd drop me like a hot potato if that was what was required for them. In other words, as you engage with that narcissistic person, you walk away thinking, I want to be known, but it's just not happening. Now, I mentioned that narcissists can be big-time gaslighters. They want you to think that you're the problem. But I want to walk you through 7 very common indicators or evidences that you're dealing with someone who has stunted relationship skills, so that as you're able to see this coming from them, they're not going to be able to pull that gaslighting stunt on you, and you're not going to have any more angst with regard to your contributions to the relationship as is necessary, any more so than is necessary. So let's walk through these. The first evidence that I want us to point to that shows that they're stunted in their connection skills is you'll notice they're very disinterested about the things that make you unique. Now, when you might talk to that narcissist about ideas that you bring to a project, or you may discuss some things about your own personal life and your personal history. Maybe there's something about your vocation that's kind of interesting that they might learn from, or just show some sort of curiosity about. Or you have interests, the kind of music you have, or the things that you enjoy doing in your off time. Narcissists tend not to think, I'd like to know more about that. If anything, they'll, if the topic comes up, they'll bring the topic back on themselves, but they really don't care about who you are and what makes you uniquely you, because they're super special. They've got the entitled attitude, and you need to know more about them than they need to know about you. Now, that leads to a second strong evidence that we can have, and that is they can sarcastically minimize those things about you that are unique, your ideas, your preferences, your plans, or your interpretations, your beliefs. For example, when I say sarcastically minimizing, it's like, why would you think something like that? Or, no, not around here, we don't do things that way. Or, I can't even imagine that you would draw that conclusion. And so there can be some digs that they kind of throw in there to let you know, if there's a problem between you and me, it's because you don't think right. And I don't have any kind of hesitation to let you kind of feel pretty poorly about that. And they lead the charge on that one, that's for sure. A third evidence that they have poor connection skills is they'll maximize your miscalculations or flaws. They'll minimize some of the things about you that are unique, but they'll maximize the things that you might bring. For example, you made a mistake, or a miscalculation, or a blunder, or you forgot something. Or it could be that they learned something about your deep history. There's this one fellow that was telling me that he had a person in his extended family who just kept thinking of him as the individual that has a really bad temper. And sure enough, he told me, he said, I did have an episode where I was really strong in the way that I spoke, and I just came on in a pretty overpowering kind of way. That did happen. But then he said, but that was 20 years ago. In knowing this person all these years, I had one lousy interaction with that person, but now that narcissist's like, yeah, you're the troublemaker here. They'll take whatever is negative and they'll maximize it and they'll hold it against you. Or a fourth indicator that they have stunted connection capabilities and skills, they like to give the appearance of being connected rather than actually being connected. Now, by that I mean, let's suppose that you're in a work setting and someone from the outside comes along, and that narcissist might say something like, yeah, my colleague and I here, we came up with some really good stuff and some things you might want to know. And you're thinking, well, are you actually giving me some nice credit here? Well, what that narcissist may be doing is they may give that other person the impression, oh yeah, I get along with everybody around here, including this person right here. They're thinking that bozo, but that's how they think. So they might try to give the appearance that we're okay, particularly out there in public, when in fact, it's just fool's gold. They're just trying to make themselves look good. They're trying to make themselves look congenial, which is their way of not being very honest to themselves about who they really are. Now, a fifth evidence that these individuals are stunted in their connection skills, and that is they can have all sorts of life patterns that detract from finding peace. Now, these may be individuals who have an uncanny knack for creating conflict or making conflicts worse than what they have to be. They may have avoidant tendencies, and they leave a lot of people feeling very uncomfortable because of that. They may have addictions, or they may have lifestyle habits that create disruptions, or just kind of leave people wondering, what's going on here? What are we really dealing with? They may not be very honest. They can be drawn to power themes. All of these kinds of elements that detract from a feeling of peace. They're not at peace within themselves, although we go back to that one, they like to give the appearance, and they generate a lack of peace in you. And you can feel very dysregulated when you're in that person's presence. A sixth evidence that a narcissist has stunted connection skills, and that is they have very distorted notions about the nature of love. Now, it all depends on the kind of relationship that you're having with that person. If it's in a romantic relationship, then love almost inevitably has something to do with sex. And are we going to have sex the way I want and when I want it and how I want it and in the kind of fashion that where you're supposed to adore and admire me? They can have all sorts of distorted views there. But even beyond just those kind of relationships, whether it's in a family or a social setting, many narcissists think, well, love means you're supposed to have blind loyalty to me, or you're supposed to agree with my beliefs, and you're supposed to have the same preferences I have. And now we have love. Or in some cases, I want you to hate the same people I hate, and you and me, that means we're on the same team. We love each other because we can be critical together. That's how they operate. Certainly, love does not entail the patience or the sense of tolerance and acts of service that we tend to think of when we think of having a true, kind and loving and growing kind of relationship. And then a seventh evidence that these are individuals who have stunted connection skills, and that is they are absolutely not safe when it comes to personal disclosures. Now, first of all, they'll tend not to make personal disclosures themselves. They don't want you to know where they hurt and where they struggle. And if they do find out that you have certain things about you, it's like it's not going to work out very well for you. Once they learn things about you that are not all that good, or maybe you're just wanting to talk about some things that are very important to you, you realize this is not my safe person. This is not someone who's there to say, I'm here with you. I want life to be better because of my presence. How can we do that? And how can I make you feel comfortable by being with me? Narcissists don't have that sense of empathy. They don't have that, what we call that immersive style of engaging. When I say immersive, being willing to have that mutuality where I want to get to know you through and through, and I want you to get to know me through and through. They cannot think that way at all. To them, life is functional. They want to stay inside their tribe and the people that think just like them. And if there's anything that's not as functional between you and them, or that you show yourself to be a little bit outside their norms, it's like they can't deal with it. And they don't know what to do other than to demean and belittle you and to make things difficult. So I'm hoping that, as you can see, this is what they bring to the equation. And then when you ask for that understanding that I mentioned earlier, or that sense of having each other's back, or that sense of finding middle ground, realize if it doesn't happen, it's because you're dealing with somebody that doesn't know how to make it happen. Their narcissistic need for control and need for superiority doesn't allow it. But I'm hoping that you can move forward knowing, okay, this is somebody that I'm going to have a very limited relationship with, apparently. But I am going to take my healthy skills and my better alternatives, and I'm going to apply those skills to people that know what to do with me, and I'm going to invest in it with individuals who have a much deeper well to draw upon. Narcissists are broken individuals. Like I say, they're stunted. So let's hold that in mind, and then adjust your expectations accordingly. I do hope that videos such as this give you some good awareness and insight into what you're dealing with. If you've not already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. And when that subscribe button comes, hit that bell that goes along with it. In addition, we also have our that join tab that you'll see, where we have a private membership if you'd like to join with that would allow you to be take availability to. I have online live feeds for Q&A sessions that every single week, and Laura does too, as well as extra videos that are not available to the general public. In addition, if you have a need for counseling, I would encourage you to seek that out where you are, or if you don't have that availability, we have a sponsor with a link that's below us that would allow you to seek out help from some professionals who are licensed and experienced and can help you sift out some of the things that may be creating some pain and struggle and frustration on the inside of you. If you have that need, I would strongly encourage you to take advantage of that. In addition, we have my Free to Be course. And I say a course, it's very extensive. It's all about finding yourself despite the controllers in your life. In addition, we have the links to my books and other resources down below. And I hope that you would take advantage of that. Well, narcissists really are a bit stunted in the way that they engage with you. I know that you want it to be more than what it can be, but just realize they're limited. Knowing that to be the case, I'm hoping you can, like I say, pull back, set your boundaries, and then find individuals that know how to be coordinated with you so that you can have steadiness and that you can have a sense of give and take in the way that you engage, and that positions you to then find your place of peace.